red pill is someone who infiltrates a group and then destroys them from the inside. This place is spooky.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2021 horror thriller with a dose of dark humour, Red Pill. A film that is written, directed and starring Tonya Pinkins, and it also stars Ruben Blades, Catherine Curtin, Catherine Erber and Jake O'Flaherty. Now, this film focuses on, it is set on the eve of the 2020 election. And it focuses on a group of politically minded middle-aged people that ride into red country and kind of stay over at an Airbnb and then are suitably spied and preyed upon by the locals. Right, what are my thoughts on Red Pill? Well, this film, for the most part, I can certainly understand how this film is potentially doing well at like the independent scene and all that kind of stuff, any screenings that it might have for like independent reviewers, all this kind of stuff. It's quite politically minded, it's clever in some of its writing, and it's a little bit different. It focuses very hard on trying to be a little bit cerebral, a little bit art housey, and very political, as I've mentioned. But for me, when you strip it all right back, it's just basically a clever home invasion film crossed with The Wicker Man at its very core. And that bit I latched onto and understood for the most part here in this film. The other side of it, I cared for much less. It was less interesting to me, the other side of the film. Number one, I'm not from the US, and I'm not a political person generally speaking anyway, but I'm certainly not interested in the politics in the US. I know the last couple of years and last year especially around the election time, it was, hypersensitive in the US in regards to politics and things like that, and this film tries to tap into it. But I was certainly less interested in that side of it in regards to its political message and the undertones associated with that. For the most part here, the cast here are very, very good. It's clever in its casting. We've got Ruben Blades, who, if that name sounds familiar, he certainly appeared in a lot of films in the 90s, and he's been in other things as well that you'll recognise. But he's been in things like Predator 2. And we've got other names that you'll recognise as well. So that we've got like a veteran cast list here, and they pull off the roles very, very well. You believe that they are like friends or partners. You believe for the most part the political debates and discussions that they're having at the beginning of the film, even though I found them not particularly interesting. And the film just had this real oddity to it. They were sat around singing like political songs to each other at the beginning of the film, and then there's this weird stuff going on where they're being spied on, and then when the film starts escalating in the sense of they're being hunted, I suppose you could argue, it becomes more interesting, and that's when it leans very heavily into the horror genre. For me, it just kind of left me thinking, not really sure what I've watched here. Maybe someone who's quite political, certainly in America, would watch this and completely get it in regards to everything it was trying to do. For me, it was a bit too, I don't know, unsubtle in its approach. And I'm not really a big fan of political films that dress themselves up as something else. If you're going to be a horror film, if you're going to be like a home invasion film, be a home invasion film, just be a good home invasion film. And the last half of this film was, for me, much better than the first half of this film. When we got to like the horror elements, it was actually pretty scary. There was some fairly gruesome kills here, you could certainly argue. And at times it actually makes Wicker Man look like Peppa Pig. There's a few scenes in it that will make you wince, and it's a bit odd, but it's just very, very strange. and how it presents itself to you as an audience member. It's not palatable, the setup and things like that, and the characters for the most part, well, they are believable and they're well acted, are not particularly likeable. And I always find that a problem in horror films. If you don't relate to the characters, who are you going to root for? And I just didn't relate to any of these characters, either because of their political leanings or anything like that. Not, like I said, not that I'm political, I just don't like political films. So I just struggled to relate and connect to any of these characters. But this is like a home invasion film with a real difference, a real twist. And I'm not saying it's a bad film, because it's nicely made, some decent writing here, and for the right audience member, this could really be something pretty decent for them. For me, it's just was a bit average, so I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. So let me know, guys, if you've seen this film, what you thought of it, and of course I'll be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very soon.